From the Ballerz Discord channel. This is the Baller Locker Room, where we talk all things baller. My name is Alex, and this week we sit down and talk to Derfpunk and his story how he went from an NFT newbie to creating his own initiatives such as LNC and Ballerz Bulletin. In addition, Mpay gives his thoughts on the current sentiment and floor dip. So please enjoy episode 5. Disclaimer. The Baller Locker Room podcast is not affiliated with NFT Genius or Ballerz NFT. All discussion here is not financial advice and a solicitation to purchase any past, present, and future Baller NFTs. All right, welcome to episode 5 of the Baller Locker Room podcast. This week has definitely been an eventful week, to say the least. Definitely some turmoil and uncertainty, both in the crypto market and real life. But hopefully today's guest, we can definitely shed some light and maybe provide insight as a guy who came from pre-mint to all the way becoming a mod. Derf, how's it going? Hopefully your
Hey,
butt is not frozen in the Boston area.
no, I'm good, man. How are you? Staying warm.
Perfect. Glad to have you on as a guest, and it's definitely refreshing to hear someone who kind of seen it all. Joining me as co-host is Mpay. How's it going? I heard you have a State of the Union you want to address our audience.
Yeah, bing bong. What's up, ballers? How we doing? Yo, it's awesome to have Derf on. I think he certainly has different perspective than myself. I didn't mint. I certainly don't come from pre-mint. I came, as an investor, sort of doing my own research after mint and just kind of understanding from a different entry point. But yeah, I mean, listening to him is going to be really fun. So yeah, I mean, to your point, Alex, I wanted to go over briefly a State of the Union on my end and kind of how I'm thinking of things right now because of the sentiment inside of the Discord and all across Twitter and so on. So here's my 2 cents. I would implore everyone who is in the Ballerz community to utilize the platform that's built, right? And what I mean by that is this community isn't just a community to chop it up and chat with or, talk to people and joke around and, talk about mooning and blah, 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 right? It's an opportunity. And what I mean by an opportunity is there's a lot of networking you can talk to folks and figure out what their expertise is specifically to kind of jump off in real life opportunities, right? The platform is there for us as a collective to do anything. Honestly, I mean, invest in real life. There's a lot of folks I talk to that are in real estate, right? So if you're interested in real estate, you can talk to people about real estate. It's an opportunity for you to meet up in real life and have a coffee discussion with folks that you trust and believe in, right? As you build relationships. And so I think the conversations that we'll talk to Derf about, he's built great relationships inside of the Discord too. It doesn't just have to be a Discord based relationship. That could be a jumping off point. But the point is, what NFT Genius has done is built a platform for us to help ourselves and help the people around us, right? And causes. Like, for example, Charlie Villanueva as well. He talked a lot about his causes and what he wants to utilize the community. So just start to think of things a little bit differently. And then as we work together as a community, we'll start talking less about price. We'll start talking about what that networking means, what in real life opportunities mean. Let's just start thinking a little bit different. That's my State of the Union, and I really feel passionate about that. So I hope everybody thinks, maybe a little bit differently after the pod, but excited to talk further about anything anybody wants to DM me about.
Definitely well said. I just want to chime in and say I definitely came in as a speculator as well. I saw this opportunity, a potential to become the next, Bored Ape Yacht Club or Doodle, definitely something along the lines of blue chip. But, as most things progress, you come in as a speculator, you definitely stay or leave as a speculator because you didn't make the money. But I stayed for more of the community, Before Ballerz, I actually don't know how to use Discord. So this was my first experience with Discord. And if you search up my previous tweets, I didn't even know how to tag people, tag everyone in the channel. It's someone else who taught me and stuff like that. But just to your point, a historical point is Mpay. Most people came to California and the West for gold rush, right? Searching for the next big jackpot that they could hit. But the community stayed, right? You have all these towns that built out. You have Gene's Levi company that built out an entire ecosystem, and small towns for trading and all that. So definitely, thank you so much for bringing that up as the State
What
of
a
the Union.
parallel you just made, though.
Mhm.
People coming to California for the gold rush. That is so right. And I mean, look at everything that California as a whole has built. So, I mean, listen, it's on a much smaller scale, but think of it that way. I mean, this podcast, for example, the platform was built for us to start this and start connecting with people like Derf. All right. Anyways, getting into some lightning round questions. I think that was the next part, right, Alex?
Correct. Yeah. Let's hit Derf with some lightning round question.
Let's go.
All right. Derf, could you tell us kind of where you grew up, where you're from, maybe your real name if you want, but what made you kind of pick Baller ID 9424 as your PFP?
Right on, right on. I came into Ballerz Nation. I was living in Hawaii, but I'm originally from Rhode Island, up here in the Northeast. Baller 9424, who I call Spike Jones because of his spiky hair. He was my second mint. So I minted two, and he was the second one. And he's just stuck with me. I had a lady baller, Cheryl Hoops, 4382. I still remember that. But I offloaded her a while ago. She went to a Dow, which is really nice. So she's got a good home. She's well taken care of. But yeah, in the beginning, I just had two ballers, and it was kind of an easy decision. Do I pick the lady baller or the male baller? And I don't know. He just kind of looks like me. Maybe back in high school, I always had that funky hair, rocking a beard. He's a little flashy with the headband. I don't know. It just pops. The colors just stuck with me. He's a New Yorker, so he's close to home. And yeah, I just been rolling with it ever since. And I don't know, people kind of identify that baller with me when I pop in, so I'm rolling with it.
Very cool, man. I like it. The looks are fantabulous, brother. Fantabulous. I like the headband for sure. And I'm a New Yorker myself too, so I'm a Golden Bull fan. We won the contest, so we out here, right?
Oh yeah, man, we doing big things. Go Bulls.
All right, a question. Are you a trait, skills, combo guy? What, when you're targeting or if you're out there hunting, what type of baller are you looking for?
Yeah, man. I've heard your other podcasts, and the true answer for me is not on that list. It's like first off, I'm a what can I afford guy. That's always the first question. What's in my budget? Without overstretching it. But once I do have something that I can work with, I think honestly for me, I'm a trait guy first. Like the way I shopped around for ballers pre-snapshot was I tried to get ballers from different teams, different hairstyles. Body types are out of my reach, all those exotic body types, all those exotic accessories. hairstyles was in my reach. So, you know, I went for a fro, I went for a flat top, got some of that cheetah hair, you know, and there's still one I'm chasing, which is the braids. I got a strong affinity for braids. So that's probably my grail right there.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I'm more of a skills guy, so I like to hear what other folks like yourself are looking for. And targeting the hair is fire. Actually, you know what? Crown Town is on that. We talk about a lot about Crown Town, but he's about that fro. He's like a fro guy. Fro.
Oh
and
yeah,
so yeah.
yeah. Crown is cool. We just made a trade ourselves. We did a 2-for-1, actually a 2-for-3. You know, he was looking to bolster his roster, and I'm just open. I'm having a good time. I'm open for whatever. So we just worked out a trade where I picked up a gold grill and a baller, and I sent him over 3, and one of them was a fro. You know, I sent him an Alaskan whale with a fro.
That's great to hear. I mean, the two biggest traits, I mean, biggest hairstyle people are targeting is definitely the fro and the flat top. But you mentioned things are, what can you afford? Are you telling me Ben's not paying you enough? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, man. I'm just I'm trying to. Ballerz is my first NFT, so I'm trying to diversify as much as I can on what I have. You know, right now Ballerz is has a piece of that pie, so I just don't want to go too all in. So I look at the bottom half, the bottom end of what's available, and I kind of just try to find what I like there.
Don't worry, I'm hearing what you're saying. We'll talk to Ben. We'll talk to Ben.
I sort of alluded to this in the State of the Union, but as a Ballerz holder, you know, sort of end state or end game or even mid game, what exactly would you like to get out of it? Like, what is your goal of maybe utility or anything that, you know, community, whatever it is? What would you like to get out of Ballerz?
You know, that's a tough question because I'm still so new into this whole space. Like I said, Ballerz, it's my first PFP outside of Top Shot, you know. So I really don't know what I want. I'm just having a good time right now. And you know, I was thinking about it as you were kind of saying the state of the union. Like, how do I describe my experience? I can kind of maybe help the listeners visualize what I'm thinking. If you know the meme that it's they don't know meme, you know what I'm talking about when I say that?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Right? There's like 2 or 3 couples. It's black and white. It's pretty simple. There's 2 or 3 couples dancing at a party, and there's just some guy in the corner that's like has a sad face on, and the meme is like, oh, they don't know I have something, right? Like that person has something of value or has a certain opinion, and everybody else is having a good time and they don't know, right? And for me, that's what Ballerz is like. I'm on the floor dancing, having a good time, and there's people on the sidelines saying, well, they don't know the game is far away, or they don't know the floor is low. You know, like, I'm having a good time. You know, for what I've put in, I'm happy where I'm at.
And that is exactly the way you should feel, right? Because that's what you want. You want that out of the community. My opinion is I've seen you build really good relationships inside of the Discord and in the community so far. And I love to see that. That is a huge, huge part of it, right? Like, it doesn't always, to Alex's point, doesn't always have to be about money. And so, you know, as we build a strong understanding of what Ballerz is going to be, building these relationships and having fun, to your point, is incredibly important. I love that, man. I love it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, the connections I've made here or that are still being developed are pretty awesome. You know, when like I said, I started in Hawaii, I was pretty isolated out there, and you know, finding Ballerz and the people in it was really helpful for me, and it gave me another place to you know, be myself and kind of get to know other people, learn things. I mean, this has been a huge educational experience for me. around tech and crypto and NFTs. And you know, what happens. I have faith in the team behind Ballerz. I'm a member of Rebel Rabbit, so I see what's going on there. Also, you know, I've even joined the discords of their older projects to see what's going on. And then I just listen. I read tweets. You know, I'll go to Curdy or Baller J. I'll look at their past tweets. Like, I'm just trying to get as much information as I can. All I see is people that are committed and you know, wanna increase the size and scope of Ballerz, which is cool. And in the meantime, I'm on the floor with LNC. We're having a good time.
I love to hear that. That you're just overall just having a great time while enjoying the vibe of things and just looking forward to the next development of the next leg up or even just the next part of Baller chapters. Going on your mention of LNC, could you kind of tell the audience what is LNC, how that came about, and maybe explain some of the acronyms you guys are a tight-knit group talk about, such as like LVP, ABC, and 6AN?
Oh yeah, right on, man. This is my favorite part of Ballerz. Just the community that's, you know, come about from it. Yeah, LNC is just late night crew, late night community. You know, you're a member when you say you are. You know, just throw it up in your name or shout it out wherever you're at in your home. I looked into the history of LNC. I was thinking about doing some kind of a thread about it, but I'll share it here. I looked back in the Discord history. You know, I was like, who was the first to mention late night crew? And the first mention is back in November 16th, and it's Plain Jane, surprisingly. And I remember Plain as one of the first people I noticed in the Discord, but he was the first one to kind of, you know, mention late night crew. He had overseas in there as well. He called it late night overseas crew. But then right after, a few days later, chicken nuggets, everyone's favorite chicken nuggets, was the first to just say late night crew. And then it just kind of grew from there. So this is all pre my time. You know, I came in a few weeks after Mint, and so I walked into this. And for me, you know, the time I would get on being in Hawaii was like late night for East Coast, you know, kind of throughout the US. So I kind of fell into the late night crew just because that's when I would pop in after work or, you know, after dinner. But I will say this, I can claim this. The first reference of LNC was from me. I kind of just boiled it down, right? It's pretty easy to look at late night crew and just say LNC. But
so what is it now? Like what exactly is it now? I mean, I know where it started, obviously. Shout out Plain Jane. Shout out Chicken Nuggets. But what is it now? Like, what do you see it as now? Obviously, it's a legitimate community. Like, it's talked about every single day, almost every hour. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, LNC is legit, man. You know, we've banded together. At the core, there's maybe 10 or 12 of us, and then, you know, the numbers just grow outside of that. But yeah, we've got like subgroups now. And to go back to the original questions, within LNC, you can find LVP. So, you know, like LVP is least valuable player. And it's just wild when things are coming up, right? The other one is that 6AN, right? That came from Roy messing up, you know, one of our count offs, right? Sometimes we'll do countdowns. We'll do that ABC. When we're just in the chat and we're like, how focused can we be in the chat and let's run through the ABCs, or let's count to a certain number. And sometimes the challenge is based off a reward, right? Like, well, somebody will come in and say, well, if the chat can go to 69, we're gonna drop some alpha, right? Or we're gonna do a giveaway, community based. And 6-8 came. We were one number away. Roy fat fingered it and dropped a sick in the and symbol. And I don't know, it just, certain things people just gravitate towards or emphasize. And that's what happened with 6-8. That's what happened with LVP. Shout out to Cutter and Fogey. They're the original LVPs. Numbers 9999 and 10,000. But you just don't know what's gonna happen, man. Just have a good time. Make friends in the Discord. And come join LNC. Right now we're almost 24/7 of being in the Discord and having a good time.
24/7 LNC. I like it. I like it. Question about the spaces. So I think that's something that you guys started. I don't know. I have no idea when it was started, but I'm definitely interested what topics are talked about during the spaces. What do you guys talk about? What's a main topic outside of Ballerz? And then if you are to talk about anything inside of Ballerz, is there a main topic there too?
I think that space, those spaces grew out of something that the LNC is good with. And it's like content creation, right? Like a lot of the members in the LNC do shit for the community or for the project on their own, right? Like, Patrick Viewing, he's like the main person naming Ballerz. Like, I don't even know what number he's up to. He's got his own channel on the Discord. People are out on Twitter asking him to name their kids, and the spaces grew from C. Millie. C. Millie was just like talking to us and was like, hey guys, like, let's do a spaces, right? Like, let's just get together and create a space for Ballerz and let's see what happens. And that's how it started. It was just like we saw a void in Ballerz where we felt like we could step into, right? Like, there were no weekly spaces. We don't use the voice chat in Discord. I've been to other servers and the voice chat is always lit. There's always 20, 25, if not more people in random projects that I walk into that are utilizing that voice chat. And in Ballerz, it's usually quiet. We jumped on Twitter. We started that as a weekly space. And the idea behind it was just like, let's create a space where people can come in and we can just discuss Ballerz. It was kind of open-ended, right? And you'll see if we ever post an agenda or a topic, it's kind of like we're talking about, sneakers. We're talking about NFTs. We're talking about crypto. This week we had one of our most amazing episodes where there were some great personalities that showed up. You just never know what you're going to get with an LNC space. And we're on like episode, I want to say 6 or 7. I mean, we've had, all the founders from NFT Genius of Ballerz have showed up. We've had the co-founder of NBA Top Shot just stroll in randomly and hang out with us. The Flunks founders pop in every now and then. We just had Eric from Goobers just hang out with us and drop some cool info and just chill. I think we've seen the value in having that space, right? Like, we just created a place people can stop by and hang out, take your coat off, kick off your shoes, chill with us.
I was gonna mention a lot of the times Jeremy Bourne or even Kurt drops in on the LNC, talk to you guys, drop some alpha. Definitely a channel for them to kind of talk with the community members and LNC, through your community initiatives, you guys basically open a space for them to easily pop in. I just want to tell
Right, and
that. Mhm.
right. I think the one part I won't agree with is that we keep it a secret, and I think that was just from our first episode. We didn't know what the hell was going on, and that first day or that first night, Jeremy and Curdy came by and dropped something, and then we didn't know how to react. So we kind of were like, should we be saying this? Like, are they, we don't record the spaces so that people can speak freely. We kind of all didn't know how to react. Like, if we mention this, will they come back next week? Like, there was some uncertainty there of like, we just heard some great news. Can we share it? Or if we do we risk not having them come back again? Right. But since then, I reported in the bulletin as much as I can of what was heard that's baller related the night before. But also, people that show up, they start sharing it. They drop it in different channels, so it gets around.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect segue. We were just gonna ask you about Baller Bulletin. You are the editor-in-chief and main reporter of the Baller Bulletin. It's another community-led initiative that you started. Can you kind of take us the process how you took the lead on that, and it basically became a widespread. I definitely read it every day. Can you kind of walk us through that process?
Yeah, man. I've had a blast, man. Like I said, I continue to try to have fun and stay positive. For me, in my experience with Ballerz, and that's where the Ballerz Bulletin grew from. My first bulletin, I believe, was on the 28th or the 20th of December. I think it's the 28th. The marketplace was on the 20th. So I had about a month in because I joined the Discord. I want to say in the second half of November. So I had a good solid month of being a holder, of participating in the Discord, catching the wave and enjoying the vibe. And honestly, it stems from what I was hearing, right? Like, I'm having a good time, and the loudest the loudest thing in the room was like, well, what's, when this, when that, what's happened today, what happened yesterday. We're not getting daily updates. Like, we want to see the CEO in here every day telling us what's going on every day. So
yeah, actually, I want to unpack that because it is mentioned quite a bit. And so I think whoever's listening to this, the people need to understand there is a venue, right? And so Derf has built this. He's built this venue for people to understand not only what the community is doing, but what the devs are doing, what the creators are doing. And so there's not daily updates on what the devs and creators are doing, but Derf puts in the big buys, interactions with the devs on LNC, on the pod, on all of these community driven platforms. So from a news perspective, I want people to go into that Ballerz Bulletin channel and start to consume that data. It's really important. And I think a lot of the maybe Delta sentiment will potentially go away by reading some of the stuff that you create, Derf.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the reason why I started, right? Like, I wanted to see daily updates, so I was like, hey, I gotta spare a couple hours that I can just kind of jot down what the biggest stories were of each day, right? Like, were there any announcements in the dailies? The daily bulletins are kind of just recaps of the day. I'm pulling information that's out there and just putting them together, right? So I'm looking at the announcement channel, asking people in the Discord what's going on. I'm jumping on Raven and I'm searching through market purchases. Are there any big buys? Who's the buyer? Who's the seller? What's going on in the team channels? I probably have the most rows outside of like Ben and heated. I'm in every team channel, right? I've reacted to every team. So I'm in every team channel. When there's a new logo, I get an alert. When somebody pings a team, I get an alert. So I'm scouring Ballerz Nation for what's going on. And that's where the bulletin comes into play, because now I take those, 5 to 10 stories and I put them in one place. So it's like, what happened yesterday? I can look it up. I can look up yesterday's Baller Bulletin and be like, all right, 2 or 3 announcements came from the devs. How's the market doing? Where are the big buys at? Who's buying them? Are they familiar names? Is it a new buyer? And then, like, what's going on with the team? What's going on in the community? That third piece of the bulletin, I always try to is where I mix it up the most. And it's where I can kind of get creative. Do I want to highlight a mod? Do I want to highlight a community member? What's going on with certain teams?
So Derf,
yeah.
As you start to talk about this, I'm actually, I'm the creative juices are flowing here, man. What do you think about collaborating with Joe Schro around maybe doing a banner on Raven, like a Ballerz Bulletin banner that, how on like ESPN goes back and forth, right? It shows you sort of the news. If
Yeah,
people
like a ticker.
Yeah, like a ticker, yeah. So if people are going to Raven consistently, maybe you can get a banner on there. I don't know. It could be like an API integration or just a simple ad. I'm not sure if it costs money, but it could be an opportunity to collab there. I don't know.
Right. That's interesting. I don't know if I have the bandwidth to pick up more responsibility to create that. If there was a way to automate it, sure. But I mean, the information is there. Like we've created a channel in the Discord. It's one click away. Use your scroll button to go up and down. It's on Twitter. It has its own page. I took it off my personal page and kind of gave it its own identity. I created that logo for the Ballerz Bulletin with some community feedback. It's there, the information is there, and I think that's something that people need to do, right? When they say do your own research, it's that, like, you got to take the action to answer your questions. You can't just walk up and say, give me all the answers right now, right? Like, I'm going to ask the question and do it. Like, there's information out there. You've got to go get it, in the Ballerz Bulletin. It's so accessible. It's so accessible. It's in the Discord, it's on Twitter.
It sounds like you need to hire a protege, Derf, someone to help you out with the day-to-day, minute by minute. If that project does go through, maybe a protege of yours update a website minute by minute of anything that drops, and that will go across Raven. Just, I mean, we're not definitely not pulling the trigger on this project yet, but maybe it's time to expand the Baller Bulletin core team.
No, I hear you, man. I've joked, like, man, is this gonna become like a media company, in the Ballerz universe, like this fictional, ESPN. And I was like, man, you got the Ballerz Locker Room podcast. Shooter McGoggles is making YouTube videos. Patrick Viewing is a personality and is connected to the community. Like, do we all band together and become the ESPN of the Ballerz sports universe?
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, the platform is your oyster. So what you're thinking is always possible. And, as I was saying at the beginning of the show, you can literally do anything you want. It's there. The platform is built. So I'm definitely interested in, sort of what your top 1 to 3 trends are that you've witnessed from when you first started, just after Mint, like you had mentioned. What exactly have been the trends that you've been seeing? Maybe you could tell the people potentially that are new.
I know there's been a larger shift towards skilled ballers. That might be a major trend, in my opinion. Early on, it was like a lot of the traits were moving. Right? Everyone wants a funky devil or alien or like those bright zombies but as of late, I've seen a lot more of the buys, a lot more of the purchases are like, I want a baller that's 80 overall or above, and which ballers are falling in value. It's the less skilled. If you're a 72, if you're a 75, you'll get picked up eventually. But if you've got a certain trait, if you've got a funky body, like you get snatched up in 5 minutes. So that's been a major trend where early on it was like every baller was getting a lot of love and attention. But I see more of it going now towards the skill side. And
that is what I'm saying too. I think just unpacking that, people are, their sentiment is going towards the potential of a game, or I've definitely been seeing that trend of when this, there's certainly time between when the game is going to be eventually developed. But I think they're investing in good skill because it is a trait to a certain extent, but which brings rarity, but also it will eventually apply to the game, right? So I'm totally with you. I think it's shifted towards skill a little bit. I am hearing a lot of people liking, traits and alternative bodies. And the grail from a few DMs that I've gotten is those alternative bodies along with top 100 skill or top 200 skill. So yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when I say it's a major trend, I think that mentality is leaking more to the average participant, where for me, what I was seeing was it was kind of exclusive to the top end owners or holders. Was like they kind of knew I need some skill, right? And that's what the target was. But now I'm seeing it open up to more of the community where like people are excited to get an 85 baller, right? And they see the value in that. Like, oh, I just sniped this for XYZ. Look at these skills. Where that's getting the emphasis more than a certain trait that they have. So that'd probably be the biggest trend for me. And then outside of that, it's just the market changes, the sentiment. That's a big change. There was a lot of excitement pre-snapshot, and then it's fizzled out for some. But I think the core group of people in Ballerz and the people that are having a good time and enjoying themselves and see the vision, still understand that we're in a good place. And it's a great opportunity to kind of double down or get some value in the Ballerz PFPs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Not financial advice, but if you look at the trends from how the shift in price went from mint to say 1900 floor, then back, this right now is a pretty steady place. It's definitely a good time to invest if maybe it was out of range for some folks, which certainly on Twitter I've been seeing. Definitely an opportunity to invest and get into a community to utilize the platform. Actually shifting to you being a mod, you're saying you have so many roles and what you're doing in Ballerz specifically. Can you talk to us about being a mod and maybe even just some of the pain points or positives of being a mod? Would love to hear about that.
Sure, man. Yeah, I got the invite to be a mod towards the end of January. And honestly, I think it was just because of how active I was in the community. Like I was starting to become like recognizable, or at least my activity was up where it was like, hey, this guy spends a lot of time in the Discord. Maybe he can help us out. And I think that's what came from it. And also, I was pushing out the bulletins. I'm definitely a team player for Ballerz. But that's where it stems from. I was
Yeah.
asked to give
Any positives you can say, like, that come from being a mod?
definitely, like, I'll learn of an announcement before it's made, because there's some we got to huddle. If there's going to be a big announcement coming out, we kind of got to huddle and get it all on the same page. So that's definitely cool. I get the alpha a half hour earlier than you do. Like when they just made the announcement for the Ballerz suite, like, a half hour before, I got to hear about it, and be ready to answer questions that people may have. You kind of get the fact sheet. That's definitely cool. And then I think just the camaraderie within the mods. I pushed out that Avengers meme of us. It's like another group, just like LNC. Like, I love it. I love community. I love making connections. And now it's like, I have a gang within a gang that's in a gang. And we can kind of, look out for each other and, just be helpful. It's just been a great avenue for me to, stay positive and just be helpful to other people. And I think that's where, to answer the second half of your question, the challenge. The challenge with being a mod is that you have to be available to everyone, right? Like, someone asks questions, if someone pops in, like, it's my job to be there. I can't just close my laptop and ignore someone. Like, it could be a tough question. And I've got to just stay professional and kind of work it out, right? Find solutions. So that's probably the toughest challenge, because there's definitely plenty of times I want to, I got to bite my lip and kind of use restrain of tongue, and recognize, like, hey, I'm in this role now. I somewhat represent Ballerz, right? And this person has the right to have their opinion, and how do I respond? So that's the challenge for me, is becoming more skillful in how I respond to situations as a mod.
Well, listen, if anybody's invested in the community, it's you. And this story is, incredibly exciting to hear, and really, really love the conversation and what you've put into the community and all of the communities inside of the community that you had mentioned. So you've built a great opportunity for yourself and a good networking system. I'm sure you've learned quite a bit, just as I have. So, certainly, as far as how to leverage the community, if anybody that's listening has questions, I'd say reach out to Derf, because he has optimized as much as he possibly can.
100%. My DMs are always open. A lot of what you see me do, I'm learning it from my uncle Luke, who's a big community manager for Top Shot and all that, in that whole ecosystem, or all those different projects. You see Luke out there, right? El Dumbo. He's everywhere, and he's approachable. That's probably the biggest thing I love about Luke, is how accessible he is and how approachable and lovable the guy is. No matter what you could be so upset about a pack drop, and then he'll just hit you with some kindness, and he'll have the answers, right? Like, he'll, at least that's been my experience, right? Like, if I'm upset about something and I yell or I ping Luke, he pops up and he's like, hey, how can I help? What do you need?
Yeah,
And
shout out El Dumbo. Shout out El Dumbo. All right, Derf.
so that's what I look up to in this space, especially as a mod, is just how, how can I respond better, and how can I be helpful?
Yeah, man. So as we wrap up, what do you have for us as far as, your own personal shout outs, any final words, anything of the sort? that you want the people to be attracted to? Maybe your personal Twitter, some sort of business that you're looking to run, anything of the sort you want to talk about?
Just 100% shout out to LNC. I love LNC. Come hang out with us on Twitter Spaces. Hit us up in the Ballerz Discord. Don't follow me. Follow the Ballerz Bulletin. Share it. I don't know, man. Right now it's Ballerz for life. I love Flow. This is my baby, my first NFT. I think we're gonna see bigger and better things. I'm excited for footballers. I hope there's some new body types, maybe some linemen. And who knows, man? Who knows what's gonna happen? Just I'm enjoying the ride. For me, it's always about the journey. So let's stay positive and keep it going.
That wraps up episode 5. Thank you so much for listening, and a special thank you to Derfpunk. It's always amazing to hear the backstory of someone who brought together so many of the holders and creating a definite subculture within the Discord, always being positive and community-centric. Thank you again, and see you guys next week.